185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast.
In this corner, the challenger, fighting out of the hard corner, from Tehachape, California, forged in the flames of chaos, it's Andy, the ill communicator, Diehard. And his opponent, fighting out of the core corner, from parts unknown, weight unknown, reason he didn't pick minor threat in the straight edge Super 7, unknown. It is the reigning, defending, undisputed 185 Miles South trivia champion of the world, Daniel, these questions are too easy, Sant!
All right, and the first question here goes to Andy Diehard. Andy, which member of Unbroken has a name that rhymes with Bob Loran?
The awesome Rob Moran.
A point to Andy. All right. Shoot it over to Dan here. Dan, a.k.a. Champ, welcome back to Defend. It's been a minute. How about that? The crowd goes mild. Okay, Dan, who played bass on the classic 1987 Final Conflict LP, Ashes to Ashes?
Bob Loran?
Incorrect. We go to Andy Diehard for the potential steal. Andy, who played bass on the classic 1987 Final Conflict LP, Ashes to Ashes?
Dickie Conflict.
A noble effort, but it is Warren Renfro. Dan, if you only saw that question before. Oops. Okay, Andy, we go to you for question number 2. Andy, on the Black Flag Bars logo, the first bar on the left side is high or low?
I'm going to say low.
We go to Dan for the potential steal. Dan, on the Black Flag Bars logo, the first bar on the left is high or low?
Oh, I see it now.
Hi.
A point to the champ. The champ for a reason, people. Dude, that's a mindfuck question. I remember when I got that tattoo and I had I double checked it right before I had the guy hit the ink, you know?
Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so.
Oh, so a point to Andy.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right, we go to Dan for his question number 2. Dan, the 1998 compilation, California Hardcore, A Call to Arms, features 3 bands from San Diego. Name all 3.
Built to Last.
That's 1.
Forced Life.
That's 2.
You said 98. Fucking hell. Reggie Shush. I know you're grumbling because I'm shitting the bed right now. The third band. No Innocent Victim.
He's the champ for a reason, people. Point to Dan. Holy cow, pulled it off.
Jesus
all right,
helped
Andy.
me. Jesus helped me on that last one.
That's right. You prayed on it. It all came to you. Okay, Andy, question number 3.
Yep.
Philosopher Kevin Seconds once proposed the question, if we can walk together, why cannot we do this together?
Rock together.
A point to Andy. All right.
I would like maybe sometime that the contestants questions get flipped, and maybe I get the left-handed side.
Well, Danny did get that softball final conflict question.
Yeah, sorry, Walter. I'll never forget you now.
Warren.
Oh,
All right. Well, Dan, here's a softball one for you and your patriotic self.
okay.
The cover photo of the Outspoken A Light in the Dark LP is from what country?
It is a ruined castle in England.
A point to the champ. And shout out to the plane flying over my pad. Okay. All right, Andy, here's a rough one. Safe Inside Records co-owner Bert to Last played in which 1990s hardcore band?
Built to last.
A point to Andy.
Yes.
Okay, here we go to Dan for his softball question. Dan, what Descendant song was covered on the classic Sublime LP, 40 Ounce to Freedom?
I knew this at one point.
Did you know it when we did Trivia with Dawn and you got the same question? Only for that to never be recorded and lost to history.
Yeah, but I got 40 brain cells to freedom. Hope?
A point to the champ. All right. Go to Andy for his question number 5. This one, a true or false question. Now, Andy, on the cover of the Ray and Porcel 7-inch on Revelation Records, Ray appears on the left of Porcel. Is that true or false?
True.
A point to Andy. All right. Dan, we go to you for your question 5, another softball. What was the B-side of the Four Skins One Law for Them 7-inch?
One more for them. The B-side is Evil.
We go to Andy for the potential steal. Andy, what was the B-side of the Four Skins One Law for Them 7-inch?
Oh, I don't have any clue, man.
Dan, what if we told you it was also an Iron Maiden record?
Brave New World.
No point to Dan, but respect for pulling it out. Okay, and we go to Andy for question number 6. Andy, on the cover of Sick of It All's LP, Scratch the Surface, how many dudes have facial hair?
On the cover of Scratch the Surface?
On the back cover.
Oh, back cover. Sorry, I'm like, 2.
We go to Dan for the potential steal. And shout out Reggie. Dan, on the back cover of Sick of It All's LP, Scratch the Surface, how many dudes have facial hair?
3.
A point to Dan. All right. And we go to
Craig
Dan.
the only one who doesn't.
All right. We go to Dan for the final question of this first round. Dan, on the Cinema Beer Nuts VHS compilation, Ben Edge is famously depicted doing his signature stage seal move during the Ignite video. What song was the video for?
Well, everybody knows that Ben Edge is the famous stage seal, and he was like especially stage sealing for this song because it was one of his favorite DC albums and bands called Embrace.
A point to the champ.
Oof.
All right. Ben, let's go to you for the subtotals.
All right, we have the champion Dan Sant with 6 points, and we have Andy Diehard with 4.
Okay, and I do not have the next segment thing queued up yet. So, Ben, why don't you just talk a little bit?
I could talk about
Ben-
being a stage seal.
Yeah, tell us about what you remember about being a stage seal.
The funny thing is I don't remember anything, and when we watched that video, and you can hear it on the Patreon episode, I said, "Is that me? What? Where is this? Where is this? I don't remember this at all. I don't. In fact, I couldn't even identify the venue. I looked for clues all over, and I'd love to know more about that video that music video and where it was shot, because I don't know.
It looks like it might have been the barn. You think it could have been the barn?
I don't remember
Riverside.
I don't remember ever seeing Ignite at the barn, so I don't think so. But
I saw them there with Millencolin, surprisingly.
okay.
So, but I don't know. Anyway, okay, let's take it to the next round. Here we go. Oops, that wasn't the right. What the fuck? I had that labeled wrong. Okay, we'll edit this in post-production.
What? What? Okay.
Okay, we go to Ben. What are the subtotals again? And let us know the rules for this round.
Yeah, so the subtotals are we have Dan with 6 points and Andy with 4 points. So this is Guess the Rick to Life lyric, and you can wager as many points as you have and as few points as 0. So Dan can wager 6 points if he so desires, and Andy can wager 4.
All right, Dan, how many points do you want to wager here?
Well, I'm going to wager all 6 because I'm going up against a true gentleman, Andy Diehard. So I will not snake my way out of this. I'm going all 6.
Okay, and Andy, how many are you putting up?
I too will go all in.
Okay. Wild men, people. Let's see here. Andy, this one's for you.
Yeah, can you play at least 2 more times?
2 more times in a row. Here we go.
One more time.
Yep.
Let's see.
I think I know the first 3 words.
I know, Dan, you know this because we listened to it a bunch, and you're like, dude, I got that in my head.
Yeah.
But there is no steals.
Oh.
I think it says, across your head, you crossed me. I don't know.
It's a pretty good guess, dude. He actually says, into the hate, violence fade. Everybody sing along. In the hate, violence fade. In the hate, violence fade. Sick track, dude.
You know what? When I texted you and said that I had that refrain stuck in my head, I had your version of it stuck in my head, not the Rick version.
What do you have in your head, Dan? Was it this? And the hate, violence fade.
See, you definitely make it sound more like Violence Fade than he does.
Well, hey, I'm an expert. You heard, actually, it's on the 87 pod when Ben vouches for me being one of the greatest singers of all time. Okay, here we go, Dan. Oh, man. And then, Ben, we might have a tiebreaker here. We might be fucked. In fact, the last time that Dan and Andy went, we had a tiebreaker, I believe.
Yeah,
but, Dan, this one's yours. A little bit of a softball, but we'll see.
Oh, man, that one was easy.
Can I have it one more time, please?
Just hammering out the fine details, huh, Dan? Yeah, here we go.
You know what? You know when your parents are yelling at you when you're listening to hardcore or punk, and they're like, "I can't even understand the lyrics. Like they're not even saying anything in it." You know, this is what they mean. Can I hear it 3 more times, please?
You may. No! 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 Dan.
All right. I think he says 185 is the best. You better get ready because this podcast is coming in 20 years. Now listen up. No!
Extremely close. Just missed it by a tad. He actually says, when you're done fronting, we'll be here doing what we love. How about that?
Oh,
Sing
what
along,
we
sing along.
love.
What we love. All right, and we go to someone that we love, Ben Edge, for the final score.
I thought we could just do one last sing along where we all sing along. When you're done frontin', we'll be here doing what we love. Because he's really singing that. Listen to him really closely. He's singing, when you're done frontin', we'll be here doing what we love. Can we hear that one more time?
Everybody sing along. Oops. Damn it.
Hey, violent fate.
Everybody sing along. No. Okay, Ben, what's the total?
He's going, well, Andy had 4 points. He wagered all 4 of them. He did not get the Rick to Life round correct, so he ends up with 0 points. Dan had 6 points. He wagered all 6 of his points. Somehow he wasn't able to hear when you're done frontin', we'll be here doing what we love. And so he ends up with 0 points as well, which means we have a tie on our hands, 0-0.
Ooh, just like last time we did the tiebreaker round. Last time we did Madball songs of the 1990s. This time we're going to go back and forth until someone is stumped. No spoilers with that whatever intro, but we are going to do Minor Threat songs from the discography. Big champ Dan, you go first. Now, Minor Threat songs, we go back and forth until someone either repeats or can't name one. Dan, go ahead.
Filler.
Okay, I marked it off, and on to Andy.
Minor Threat.
Marked, back to Dan.
I don't want to hear it.
Marked, back to Andy.
Bottled Violence.
Marked, and back to Dan.
Straight Edge.
Got it, and Andy.
I'm already. Oh gosh, dude.
It's very hard on the spot, dude, I know.
Stepping Stone.
Perfect. Got it. And where the fuck are you, though? There it is. Got it. Dan, back to you.
Well, since Andy went for a cover, I'll do it also. 1-2-XU.
Got it. And back to Andy.
Guilty of Being White.
Sketchy.
Of course, Andy goes straight to the sketchy one, but we won't judge. Dan, back to you.
Catch me.
Little Friend.
We got it. And back to Andy.
In My Eyes. Do I already do that one?
We did not. And we are still alive. Dan, we go to you.
One day we'll look back and laugh.
All right, Andy won because Dan got the title wrong. It is just called Look Back and Laugh.
I knew you'd say that.
Just played. Okay, we got it. Andy, back to you.
I was about to faint.
Out of Step. You say that one?
We did not, and we're only taking one version of it.
Right.
It's taken now. Dan, back to you.
Okay. Betray.
Yep, and back to Andy.
What is that one? Small Man, Big Mouth. Can we say that one?
Got it. Yep.
Oh, nice.
We are still alive. You guys are legends. Dan, back to you.
Well, I'm going to say one that I thought Andy just was, but obviously he wasn't. But I'm going with Stumped.
Yep, that was the one I gave away on our way into this challenge. And Andy, we go back to you.
I think I am stumped now.
You got Jeremy from Tuning's 90s band on here.
Half Mast? No. I'm stumped.
All right, Dan, still the champion. I was going for No Reason.
No reason. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I
But
have
Dan,
to?
how does it feel, dude? Pulled it out with the band that you didn't pick on the Straight Edge Super 7.
I know, but I did pick Straight Edge in the Minor Threat song listings just now. So can I get out of jail now?
Never.
Small redemption. All right.
Way to go, dude.
What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are talking hardcore. Helping out, you know him, you love him. Maybe not as much as episode 1, the legend Joe Rivas, but you love him nonetheless. It's a man who ranked Crass over the UK subs and dresses I, but still the best dressed man on the pod on our podcast. It is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
1, 2, XU.
Also helping out, it is Ben Merlis, a.k.a. Ben Edge, a.k.a. Bedge. What's up, Ben?
Big man, big mouth.
Also helping out, it is the nicest man in hardcore. It is Andy Diehard. What's up, Andy?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. It is a spectacular achievement writing 2 classic LPs as a hardcore band. Very hard. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about bands that have put out 2 great LPs. And I wanted to do a couple caveats here. I want to talk great. Not really, really good. Not good. Not pretty awesome. I'm talking great, and 2 of them. And then also, let's keep it hardcore. Let's keep it, what we consider dyed-in-the-wool hardcore. And then, not like singy, not too singy. Because once you add a bunch of melody, it's a lot easier to write multiple good albums. But as far as like straight hardcore with yelling, good God, it's hard. It's a rarity. Dan, you have done 2 LPs before. Talk about how hard it is.
It's very hard when, especially in the timeline of a hardcore band. So, you come off of doing an EP that you really like, and then you're eager to do an LP, and potentially the label that puts you out wants you to do an LP. And so you almost like grab at songs, things that maybe you would have practiced into the ground to make them stronger. You almost let them off a little bit on some of the songs, So I think it is very difficult to have the foresight and the talent and the discipline to make sure there's no filler. Do you know what I mean? Because when we talk about great, like the double great of hardcore LPs, that means there's no skippers, or if there's one, like other than that, the highs are so high that one thing can be forgiven.
Right. Agreed. Like no more than one skipper, and that skipper better be well placed as well, if there is one. Ben, you said you were only able to come up with 4, and you are a hardcore historian. What are the 4?
Well, there's one none of us are going to disagree on, and you can probably guess what it is. In fact, I'll let you guess what it is. Zach, you have one guess.
Well, if it's coming from you, Ben, I would guess that it's Trapped Under Ice, Secrets of the World, and Big Kiss Goodnight. Am I correct?
You are incorrect. It's Turnstile, Nonstop Feeling, and no. It's fucking Youth of Today, man. Break Down the Walls.
Yeah.
We're not in this alone.
Well,
Absolutely.
Another one that we would all agree on, although it gets in that weird, like, is this a 12-inch EP or a 12-inch LP? 7 Seconds to the Crew and Walk Together, Rock Together, right?
Yeah, because
Absolutely dyed in the wool, correct.
well,
I have that one.
If you count them as LPs, or if you count Walk Together, Rock Together as an EP, then I guess maybe it wouldn't be counted, but those 2 faux show.
Yeah, it got reissued as Walk Together, Rock Together came out as a 7-song EP. It got reissued maybe a year later as an LP with extra tracks. So if you're counting both of those as LPs, fuck yeah, 7 Seconds counts.
Well, here's how I go, dude. It's an LP because you couldn't fit it on a 7-inch and have it sound good, right? Because you have We're Gonna Fight is kind of a longer song. It's a little more extendo on the LP than it is on the 7-inch. And then 99 Red Balloons is kind of a long song. I don't think you can fit the 7 songs of this record on a 7-inch. Like, it has to be on a 12-inch. So
Or a 10-inch.
that's an LP. Yeah, it could have been on a shameful 10-inch. Thank God they didn't do that. So, all right, that's 2. Ben, what is another one?
This one is going to be debated probably, but Circle Jerks, Group Sex, and Wild in the Streets. No one's denying the brilliance of Group Sex. Wild in the Streets, right? It's right on the line with a lot of people between a very good album and a great album.
Yep.
It's to me it's great. I mean, I like Group Sex more, but I'm looking at the track list for Wild in the Streets right now, and maybe you could say that the two cover songs at the end would count as skippers, and it's kind of like it's a medley. So if that counted as one, that would meet your one skipper criteria. But they're all like, dude, look at all these songs. You want me to start listing them? I mean, it's great.
No, I really don't.
Okay.
Here's the thing about that though, and I agree. I agree that one's really close, but I put that in the really close bucket. You know, like, and you got to keep in mind some bands are hurt by doing an LP that is so classic, right? Like, it's very hard to live up to Group Sex, you know, and just coming in a tiny bit under it makes it like, fuck, they got one great one and one really, really good one, you know, in my opinion. But hey, you can make that argument. The other one, along with like the 7 Seconds and along with the Circle Jerks, how about Discharge? Why and Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing?
See, I always thought Why was an EP because I would have said
it
that
is, but
too,
it's an EP in the way that Walk Together, Rock Together is, right? Like, there's no way it would fit on a 7-inch. You know, isn't it like
Okay.
8 songs?
I don't know, but if you're counting that, then
They're just being technical. I mean, I think Stalag 13, they list In Control as an EP, but it's like 9 songs, and there's no way it would get on this. I mean, I shouldn't say there's no way it can get on a 7-inch. I have a bootleg 7-inch of it, but it sounds terrible.
Well, it's probably listed as an EP because so Doug Moody only has to, or whoever only had to pay EP royalty rates and not LP royalty rates.
That's right. Upstart Records, but hey, what can you do? Okay, Ben, what are the other ones you got?
This one is also debatable in the respect that there's so many songs, or quite a few songs were recorded for both albums, and that is Bad Brains Self-Titled, aka the Roar tape, and Bad Brains Rock for Light. I think they both great albums. There's a lot of overlap with the tune stack. So, does that count or not?
That's a really hard one. That's that's impossible for me to answer because, yeah, there's so much overlap, and that's always kind of been one, like, whichever one you heard first you like more. I've never heard of really people being like, I like those two equally, because you kind of either Rock the Light sounds too fast or Roar sounds too slow, you know, depending on which one you like more.
Roar
Dan,
is
what's
right. Roar is right.
That's how I am, but I heard that one first, so it's too hard to say.
Well, let me ask you this: would Eye Against Eye come into the conversation?
No.
See, I think you got that. I think you got Roar and Eye Against Eye, and you got an argument there.
Yeah.
No, because Eye Against Eye's got some duds on the B side. It's got like some what's that song? Secret 77? Dude, that song's not good. Like
it is a little fronted heavy, but it's like so gnarly when it's good.
Yeah, but
okay, let me see here. How about both Leeway, the first two Leeway records, Born to Expire and Desperate Measures?
I didn't have that because I thought you didn't want Singy, and he's a very, very good singer. But
oh, come on, Ben.
No, I'm saying there's tons of stuff I would have picked if he just opened it up for all hardcore, like Descendants.
He means like Bad Religion and Dag Nasty. Maybe Dag Nasty counts, but I don't know.
Yeah, or like Good Riddance, right? Like Good Riddance would have a couple. But I don't want to have that argument on this podcast or no use for a name.
Okay, I've got a couple if you want.
Oh, but let me answer the Leeway thing, because I think that Born to Expire is the better album. Desperate Measures drags a little bit. It's got my favorite song on it, which is Who's to Blame, but I think it does drag. I wouldn't call that album amazing front to back. So that's my opinion.
Dan, what were you going to say?
I think they are both considered great for the sound that you're going for to listen to Leeway, you know, but I do think both of them have dragging moments, to be honest.
Yep, I agree.
That's fair. Okay, Dan, what's one that you got?
Well, we haven't talked about the band that has done 3 great albums. And I mean 3. That is Sick of It All. Blood, Sweat, Just Look Around, Scratch the Surface. All 3 are great.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And another band that did 3, Madball, Set It Off, Demonstrating My Style, and Hold It Down.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, like we got to give Sick of It All their props on that. That's insane. You know, what an insane run. Those are 3 in a row. With Madball, Set It Off, Demonstrating My Style, I love Hold It Down, but I think it is just a little bit of a drop, and then they come back with Hold It Down, which is good God, man.
You meant Look My Way. You said Hold It Down.
Oh, yeah. Set It Off, Demonstrating My Style, great. A little bit of a drop off on Look My Way, and then we come back with Hold It Down, which is insane. So,
yeah, absolutely. And if we're going to stay in this lane, let's bring up Agnostic Front.
Yeah, which are the 2? Victim in Pain and One Voice?
That's what I would say.
That's what I would say too. And in fact, they are the one that I would almost allow a live record to squeeze in. You know, in the same way where if you were going to like argue like Iron Maiden Live After Death is such a classic like Maiden record, or Kiss Alive, you know what I mean? Like it's such a crucial album to Kiss. Or what are like the ones in the 70s been? You know, like
Who, Live at Leeds.
Right.
Yeah.
There's stuff like that. Or isn't there like some dude, it's like a single dude and his famous album was like a live one?
Frampton Comes Alive.
Right, exactly.
I'm not a fan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you can't exclude that from his career. Like AF Live at CB's, like fuck, dude.
Do you know what? I will fully agree with you, because what makes these tentpole live albums like just so huge in a band's thing is when you can quote the in-between song banter and know it's from that record. That means it is so seeped down that the in-between song banter is like part of it, you know?
Right. And then also AF, you know, a band with a long career, and it's kind of them like molding old and new together, giving like kind of a new take on a lot of those old songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's pretty ill. Jumping forward for one that I think Dan would have. I haven't listened to the second album long enough to know. Long enough. I've had 20 years, but still never got into it. How about Count Me Out, 110, and also Permanent?
Yeah, I have them on my list. They were the first thing I thought of when this topic came up, because that's a newer band at 20 years ago. But that is a band that everything they put out is legitimately great. And then to have LPs with no 2 LPs in the 2000s with no skippers, that's fantastic.
And both recorded great in an era where like recordings were a little wonk, you know, like right on that line of like going to a, you know, 2 Real studio or doing Pro Tools. A lot of stuff came out wonky in this time frame. Andy, did you have that one on your list?
Yeah, the Count Me Out's on there. That was one of my first ones too. I thought of too. Both those records rip hard. I still listen to them all the time.
Cool. So, do you have a preference?
I actually like Permanent better, but I think that was a time and a place. We did a bunch of shows with them around, and I booked shows at OI and Jerry's for them. So kind of I think just actually being in the middle of it when that came out, kind of, and I don't think they played a lot of shows out here off that, or maybe that was right. Dan, was that right after they did that run with you guys when we played that Hippie Fest in Oregon?
Yeah, I was about to say, Andy, please don't forget Eugene Fest.
No, I never
don't forget Eugene. Let me tell a story about Eugene Fest really quick.
Do it.
We get there. Andy totally hooked us up with this show because our Oregon show, like Southern Oregon show, fell through, and Andy put us on this thing called Eugene Fest. Now we show up, and it's like a giant like punk house, but it's like like 4 stories, like huge monsters. It looked like the Munsters, right? Huge house like that. Yeah. We show up, they have this giant backyard, like some crust bands are playing when we show up, and there's this giant spread of food, and Count Me Out just dive into it like crazy. They're just eating everything. It's tons of veggie stuff. Tommy from our band is eating stuff, but I had an inkling. I was like, I don't know about this. And then these like hippies come out the back, and some dude runs up to him and goes, "Hey, Saffron, where'd you get all the food?" And she's like, "Oh, we got it out the trash cans." And Count Me Out's like, "Ah!" Like pulling the hummus out of their mouth and everything. And I just died laughing. But the funniest thing is whoever who did the flyer, like put Count Me Out from Sweden. Like, I don't know if they thought they were being funny, but Mazzola, the singer of Count Me Out, Jason, he just played it like it was true. And he went up on stage. He's like, "Hello, we are Count Me Out from Sweden." The entire time. And the Crossbonks loved him because they thought they were a Euro band. And he's like, "We love when you run in the concentric circle. Please run in the circle." And they fucking killed it. Then we go up on stage. I say, "Hey, we're Over My Dead Body. We're a straight edge band from California." And I just got doused in beer, like, boosh, just all over me. I'm like, oh. And then I stomped, like turned around, did this stomp, and went right through the floorboards of the stage. And totally got caught. My leg got caught. I'm singing along, pull out my leg, and I turn around. There's this one, like, 75-year-old old dude with one tooth who has like 3 nails in his mouth, and he just starts hammering and fixing the stage in the middle of our set. It was fucking epic.
And then he asks, "Hey, where's the money from the show going?"
Yeah.
Andy, do you have any others on your list that haven't gotten talked about?
Yeah, I had Integrity, Those Who Fear Tomorrow, and Systems Overload.
And
Great one.
they could be a 3 if you're counting
Humanity.
Yeah.
Yep, they're a triple if you count Humanity.
I also thought Terror might be a triple. Lowest of the Lows and Keepers of the Faith, and then I really like that new record too. I mean, it's pretty new, but I think it's pretty great. They might be
What
a 3.
with the Underdogs is in the conversation as well.
Yeah, I think the recording on that one's not as great as those other 3 I just mentioned, but the songs are definitely worthy of it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. That's a good one.
I got a few honorable mentions, but those were the main ones. Was that Count Me Out, Integrity.
Well, let me hit you with a couple more then.
All right.
In Control.
Yep.
Not even close. The recordings
Absolutely.
are terrible.
Who cares? The songs are fantastic.
Each LP I'd hack like 3 songs, so it already doesn't qualify. But I will give you Retaliate, 4 great LPs. From let's see, I got Poison Idea, Kings of Punk, and Feel the Darkness. They have lots of very, very good, but I think those 2 fall in the great category. And that's my list. Mindforce, Excalibur, New Lords, as we're talking on this pod. And then also Trapped Under Ice, Secrets of the World, Big Kiss Goodnight. This is like it's a rarity, like once you're crossing over into like a Jace, or you're bringing in singing, this is more doable. Or if you're like straight heavy metal, it can be a little more doable, but for hardcore, it's very hard. What was you saying, Dan?
I've got more.
Okay, go
on. Let's go modern. The Violent Reaction 2 LPs are incredible. Both of them are just non-stop bangers.
Yeah, and also how about the first and second Tragedy LPs?
Oh, without a doubt. Incredible. And then that would lead me, I had that on my list too. That would also lead me to, even though it's not my thing, Converge. I mean, Converge, Petitioning the Empty Sky, When Forever Comes Crashing, Jane Doe, and then perhaps even count the Agoraphobic Nosebleed Split. Like, it's not my thing, and it doesn't equate for me that way, but I would say that would definitely needs to be in the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know how to speak on it because it misses me, but I mean, that's a band that delivers for their fans, right?
Absolutely. And the Hope Conspiracy would also be considered that for the fans that love their entire run as well, I feel.
But are you one of them? Because you love the first record. I
love the first one, and I do like the others, but the other ones that, see, it's more a time and a place thing for me, where the first one, I spent so much time with it and I loved it so much that it doesn't hit as hard for me later on. Whereas the people who really like that band like the second LP and the third LP like as the classics.
How about Rorschach? Like people talk about that band like with those two LPs being kind of interchangeable. I think that they sound so different. In fact, I kind of love the first one and kind of hate the second one. And I think I'm totally out on an island feeling like that.
Yeah, but what I will say about that second one is the thing it birthed for hardcore, like going on, like in, you know, messing with time signatures, messing with all that stuff, and, you know, all the stuff that followed it's considered the classic of the two records, but I like the first one better as well. But I would say that they definitely have two great LPs.
All right. What else you got, Dan?
I know that you might think it's a Jace, but Fugazi for me.
All right, moving on. And what else you got?
What about Kill Your Idols, Zach?
It's hard because like I don't even know if they have one great one. You know, it's like every LP like has tracks, and I love that band.
Yeah, maybe
but
that's
every single record I'd trim the fat a little bit.
Yeah, I
you know, maybe hack 4 songs off every record. In fact, like I hope we're into. We'll talk about it a bit when we go into the new records that we talked this week, and we talked about it a fair amount on speaking on the new Terror. I hope that we're into an era in hardcore wherein bands don't feel like they need to put out a certain amount of output on a record. You know what I mean? Like Mindforce is a perfect example. Now they got 2 LPs. I actually think that Swingin' Swords, Choppin' Lords EP, the 4-song thing, is probably my favorite thing from them. And I love that format, dude. 4 songs on an LP, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Once you have a couple LPs out, how much more material do we need? Because when we see you, we want to hear all the classics. And it's like, you know, if you put out 4 songs a year, 4 songs every couple years, like right on. But dude, just putting out like 16 song LPs, like boom, boom, boom. That shit's rough. Like no one can do it. You know what I mean? And I am envious of it a little bit. Like, you know, the prolific songwriters. I think about people like, you know, Bob Dylan or the Rolling Stones and these people that basically write a song, record it, move on. You know what I mean? There is something to that and not thinking about it too much, but there is also something like about curating and thinking about like what your output is and trying to have it all be pretty great. You know, and with hardcore where everything is so, the best stuff is so short and to the point and no frills and no fluff. I just like when there's like limited output sometimes. I don't know. Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I think where the outside world of music, like you named, like lots of those legacy acts like Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan, and they, you know, they get together or like bands like the Stones get together like every 18 months and then record like 45 songs, and then a producer comes in and it becomes a push and pull and a shaping by the producer to kind of dial in the output of what the LP is going to be. And that doesn't really happen very strongly in hardcore. You know, that latest Terror LP, which we've talked before, was kind of that. Like Todd Jones wrote like a bunch of those songs with them and like formulated what the LP would be with them. So and it was a success. So there's something to be said there where, you know, editing makes the massive difference, right? That, I mean, like you asked me about recording 2 LPs. I feel Rusty Medals, our first full length, didn't get any editing at all. And I think it suffers from that big time. Whereas the second LP, I feel, got edited a lot more and still should have been edited even more and get it down to 10 songs instead of 13. And it could have been even stronger. But I think that's one thing that hardcore bands don't have, that other voice in the room to kind of a lot of the time to tell them, no, let that one go. It's a good song, but it doesn't need to be involved in this project. You can use it for something else, you know? And I think that that's something that's starting to happen a lot more in modern times because recording it seems to be a lot cheaper. And, you know, if back in the day, if you booked 3 days at a studio, it was going to be pretty expensive. So you wanted to record everything you had. And then you get that weird thing where you're like, well, I do like how it came out. And there's no editing, you know?
Ben, do you have anything else on your list?
I have a few that I'm not 100% like committed to. So
All right,
I haven't
run through them, and then we got to move on so we can get Andy off to band practice.
Okay, one is
We're
Instead.
good. We're good. They're running late. We're good.
Okay.
True.
Well, one is
Party hard.
Instead. Instead, Bonds of Friendship and What We Believe. I think I always liked What We Believe more, but I like Bonds of Friendship too. I don't know if both records would be considered absolutely, great, God tier, whatever. Another one is UK Subhumans, The Day the Country Died, and Worlds Apart. Like, to me, UK Subhumans, the best material was done on EP. All the stuff that ended up on EP.
Doesn't sound like you're arguing for either of these. Like the Instead LPs aren't great. They're both good. The
Okay,
7-inch I think is great.
Here's one that's like troubling because they are one of the best bands ever, and they put out a lot of records, and that's Black Flag. And of course, the most classic shit is are on EPs as well. And so it's like, well, out of all the albums they put out, are there two great ones?
No.
I don't know.
No, because you could argue Damage My War, but it's like,
No.
what? I mean, that's only if you're a psycho that loves side B of My War. Right?
Yeah, and I'm not. And Slip It In, I've always liked more than My War. So it would be like Damage, Slip It In. But you know what? I don't even like Damage that much because it's mostly material that was recorded better by previous singers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I can't remember the last time I've listened to Damaged.
Yeah.
If that was like the first thing that I ever heard, like, it would. God, I'm really actually envious of that. I wish that was the first thing I ever heard. Like, your Black Flag listening experience would be so much better, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if Henry was your favorite singer, and like the version of all those classic songs you like the most were the Henry version. Like, I don't know, that would just be so awesome. Black Flag is such a confusing experience for everyone because like everyone just has a different feeling about it. Like there's literally no consensus.
Right. And here's one that might be one that you would pick, Zach. Definitely not one that I would pick is LA Youth Brigade because the Sound and Fury, fucking classic. But then you love that one from the 90s so much. Does that mean they have two great albums?
I love that one from the 90s, but God, it's got a couple tracks on it that like I'd rather like take a risk and jump out my window than listen to. Like
Right
that Street Dominator song, Jesus, ugh. Like I don't know if I can call a record great with a song that bad on it. But yeah, I mean that's close. That's close. That's a good one. And there's a bunch of stuff in the 90s. Like I said, like the first two Good Riddance LPs, if you want to count them, but they're a little singy, a little melodic. Bad Religion, 3-4 of them. There's a bunch that you can go into if you go into that Epitaph world. But I was trying to keep this like died in the lane hardcore.
Is Misfits too singy?
I mean, have two great albums. What are their two great albums?
I mean, you got that too, right? I mean, if you want to argue for Earth AD, they got two.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, that's a hard one because Walk Among Us is so much better, dude.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like when you're comparing Earth AD to non-Misfits music, I think it does count as great.
I know, but you fall back into like that circle jerks argument, right? Is like when you have one that's better than the other, like you're talking about like Twin Peaks, dude. You know what I mean? They have to be great, and the other one has to be like pretty equal to the other one. And I don't know. I don't know if it's there for that. Okay, let's wrap this up. Andy, you got any others? What are your honorable mentions? And then we'll wrap up.
These ones are great to me. I don't know if you guys agree. I know Dan will, and maybe Ben. The In Control, both LPs rule. The first two Modern Life is War records, and then I Gotta Stay for Tatchby. The first two Warrior records for me are both great and awesome. So those are my great to me. Maybe not to everyone else, but all those are great to me.
Yeah, we need to talk Modern Life is War on the pod more, and I've been talking with Chris. We'll get him and Jeff on the pod at some point. Yeah. But yeah, you think 1 and 2, not 2 and 3? Don't some people think that Witness and Fever Hunting are like the two?
Oh, My Love, My Way is my favorite. I mean that.
Okay, that and then Witness.
Yeah. That first record to me, again, time and a place though.
Yes.
Those-
I think that record is time and place too.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like, I think 2 and 3 the most. But I don't know.
I
You know,
like
and
all
I
the
think
others, to be honest, but those first two are the ones that sit that the heaviest with me.
right. Yeah, that's a good one. That's
I
a
have a
classic band that doesn't get talked about enough. Dan, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I have a question. Would both Have Heart LPs be considered for people who love them? The Things We Carry and Songs to Scream at the Sun?
I think so. Andy, do you like that band?
Yeah, they're cool. I've only recently really gotten into them. I mean, we played with them a couple times back in the day. My kid's into them, but that makes me think of Bane. Like Bane would be in the same classification, I think. I don't know if Have Heart was bigger than Bane, but I feel like Bane maybe has 2 great records to me if I went through and to pick them out. Give Blood, maybe, and another one.
Yeah, it's just Give Blood on the LP side. That is the true master, and then the rest of them have a
Some
little
skippers.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's wrap and move on.
I have one more that's an honorable mention that I'd love to hear your rulings on. Token Entry.
I don't know if either's great.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Do you think it's great? Do you think either's great, Dan?
When we're putting them all up against all this, Mount Rushmore stuff, they don't consistently meet the remit, I feel. So
all right, then.
I'm leaving them off. Yeah.
Cool. All right, we're going to do a UFO for the Floorpunch 7-inch. The day before Floorpunch records their 7-inch, Porter is abducted by a UFO. You can replace him with anyone, past, present, or future of hardcore. And Dan, who you taking?
It's so funny. It's like, do you even want to take anyone? Like, isn't this 7-inch just absolutely perfect? But I enjoy the this task, and I really love it. And I walked Reggie all around the cemetery this morning listening to the Floorpunch EP on my headphones, and just was fucking loving it. And I was like, what can we do that will be a bit different but still sound fucking amazing? And so what I came up with is background music era Wes singing this. So the super shredded vocal, the super absolutely, just the vocal cords just ripped apart, but still sounding tough as fuck. And what would be interesting about it is, well, at the time he was straight edge too, so it counts there. Also, the way Porter delivers his vocals is so staccato, like, "No, I can see it," whereas Wes would bring like the, and it would give a different attack to it, but it would still fit really on top of it and give it such an aggressive, crazy flow that the music would still stand the test of time with. That's my answer.
Andy, who you taking?
My initial pick, I think Daniel Sant or Jason Mazzola would kill it on this, but I like it best when your guest or whoever picks something kind of off the wall, like not like this would sound just as good. So I thought that Eva from Power Alone and No Plan would be pretty dope. She's straight edge. She can kind of sing a little bit. I think her range would be pretty cool to see in there. She can get super gnarly, and then she can also kind of she's got a good like hardcore voice too. She can get a little melodic in some parts if she wanted to. So I think that'd be a cool different take on it.
I thought you were going to stitch back and take Peter Frampton.
No,
Your off the wall pick. Ben, who you got?
I think Eva and Dan Sant are such good picks that like I feel like an uncreative dick for the person I came up with, because I think those would actually make the band sound different in an equally cool way. But I pick Mike Judge because when I listen to the Floorpunch, I think, what band do they most sound like? Well, Judge. So what if you got the actual Judge guy to sing on this? And it'd be like, it would almost sound like the Lost Judge 7-inch.
Yeah, that's a great one. I'm going Final Rabies. So Rabies at the end when he's on a straight edge kick, he's doing Free at Last and shit. I think he'd be perfect because he can do Porter's, like his attack is so quick, right? Like da-da, bada, bada, bada. And Rabies does a lot of that stuff, like on that split with Cause for Alarm. Like if you think about how he sings on Free at Last and so forth, like Free Last, da-da, bada, da-da, bada, bada. He can do it. And he's got the charisma. He's a big guy. You know, that's what you need if you're the front man of Floorpunch. And yeah, that's where I'm going. I love the picks. Love the Eva pick. Dan, do you think you're worthy for this? Let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay, I love the
I'm straight edge as fuck.
Yeah.
And I know every word, so yeah. But nothing beats Porter. Like nothing beats the 7-inch. This we were talking things at some point of like, this is in, what did we put it in with all the best straight edge records? Like we chose like something and this made it like against all the classic stuff from the 80s. Like this beat a ton of it because it deserves it. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you talked a little bit earlier about editing, right? And it's like, what the fuck would you edit off this record?
Yeah.
You can't. You can't edit out anything. Like even the sample doesn't get old. You know what I mean? So, and normally like you listen to a sample a million times, you're like, okay, dog, like I wish you cut it, you know? But like this is just such a part of it. And yeah, it's just perfect. Like there's moments on the LP I would edit. There's even moments on the demo I'd edit. I don't think that the Floorpunch intro is great, you know, but this 7-inch is straight up perfect, you know? So, hey, yeah, I agree. Porter's the best. I wouldn't want to replace him with anyone. But if we had to, I think these are all pretty good selections.
And so are these records. Collector's Bargain Corner.
All right, we are doing Collector's Bargain Corner. This is a listener suggestion, and it was a great one. We are talking The Government Warning Arrested 7-inch. Came out in the year 2007 on Grave Mistake Records. This segment is about if you're starting to get into record collecting, or if you're into record collecting, your collection's looking a little thin, you want to beef it up, but you don't want to break the bank. These are some good records to buy. So this 7-inch, we'll dig into some prices afterwards, but Ben, hip us to The Government Warning Arrested 7-inch.
Yeah, so this band is from Richmond, Virginia, and they released 2 LPs and 3 7-inches between 2005 and 2009. So they really went hard and fast in a short amount of time, figuratively and literally. They were a part of that whole No Way Grave Mistake scene that was bringing back the early 80s hardcore sound. And in fact, the drummer Brandon Farrell, who is no longer with us, was the owner of No Way Records, and their bassist Alex DiMattesa was the owner of Grave Mistake Records. So it was like the people in this band literally were the people bringing back that style of music, not only with the music they played themselves, but the records by other people they were putting out. So I always thought they sounded like the Connecticut band CIA, who had that 7-inch in '83 called God, Guts, and Guns. But for those who aren't familiar with that band, I'd say Government Warning would have fit in well with the This Is Boston, Not LA, or Unsafe at Any Speed comps. Like fast, snotty, hardcore punk. On this particular 7-inch, which is 4 songs, you even get some of that surf beat on the title track. So it's got a little bit of that mid-tempo, but mostly pretty raging, fast 80s hardcore. I think I bought this at Ebullition when it was new, and I saw them and opened for them many times, and they were great live, and everything by them is worth owning. And apparently this is an attainable goal, as it is still affordable. And the funny thing about these collector bargain corner things is like, I never look up the value of records I already own, because what's the point? I already own them. I don't need to buy them. And so if someone told me, yo, that's a $50 record now, I'd be like, I believe you. Like there's no way I would know if something is like $3 or $50. if I didn't look myself, because it's a good record. It's good music. I don't know. So,
Well, it probably is a $50 record if Stillmatic 619 is selling it. But luckily there's some people for selling it a little bit cheaper. It's a $5 record. You pick it up from Icky here on Discogs, or from Untitled Records, $6.99. You know, there's a bunch in that range, in the 5 to 10 range. Here's one for $8. Here's one for $3. So yeah, near mint, $3. How about that? Yeah, this 7-inch kicks ass, dude. Straight up. It rules. It reminds me the most of maybe the first Jerry's Kids LP. So the Boston Not LA comparison is a good one. Dan, were you able to listen to this?
Oh yeah, I fucking loved this. The guitar tone that the first song Arrested starts out with, the single guitar, might be the best guitar tone of like punk hardcore ever. Like, I mean, it's channeling so many things from the past that it's getting it right. But before the rest of the band comes in, just that guitar tone is just so good. And then this, I feel the 7-inch is bookended like really well. Like the first song and the fourth song are the two real killers, but the other two in the middle are no slouches. This is
it's interesting
really
you say that, because the two in the middle are the fast boys. You know?
Yeah, you know me. I'm a mid-tempo banger machine.
Oh yeah. Andy, did you listen to this?
Yeah, it was awesome. I didn't catch this band when they were around. I was kind of having kids and gotten my job and stuff, but so I didn't catch them when they were around, but I wish I would have, because this fits in right with like Striking Distance and No Justice, or whatever Dave's band after that. Just that whole scene of the hardcore punk fast, awesome stuff. I was not super familiar, but I'm going to dive in on all the other stuff now.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
How do you do, fellow kids?
All right, we're going to talk some new music. Number 1 coming out this coming Friday. New Mindforce LP titled New Lords, coming out on Triple B. Holy fuck, this record slays. They did it again. Bow down to the greatness. Dan, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, they're you know, we talk about LPs being very hard to do for hardcore bands and consistently get it right. They killed it. The recording, perfect. The most charismatic vocalist in hardcore today has the most perfect amount of reverb that he sings with on all of their records. You know, it just sits in this like slightly echoey pocket that just elevates what he actually does vocally to the next level. Like it just gives it places it in a nod to the past while riding perfectly over this music. Now, what I'll say is a lot of the verse riffs on this LP reminded me of like early Bay Area thrash, almost like sounding like some early Metallica on some songs, and some other like Exodus a little bit on others. Like it just has that really in the pocket, like kind of Hesher, while still being extremely hardcore, I have to think. And then it takes like that vibe of that sitting in that Bay Area thrash moment, and then it goes straight to, oh, you know, we're from like around Connecticut, right? You know that beatdown has been an important part of what we've listened to our whole life, and the fucking mosh parts are just so like knucklehead elevated. Like they're so fantastic. One song in particular, like there's a song Goliath and the Runt. It like is fast. It's going fast. It's like tons of singing, and then it goes to this part where the guitar player starts a crazy like solo, and you think the song ends, and there's this negative space for about 2.5 seconds, and then this just ungodly mosh part comes in. I'm thinking like when they play this one live, that 2.5 seconds is going to be the most tense, like evil moment on a dance floor in a long time. Like that that silence before the mosh comes in is gonna be like, get in the fucking like nuclear shelters because shit's gonna go fucking insane. My favorite song might be 13 and Mean. All Facts I loved. I pretty much love everything. They have a little instrumental banger which is great. It's a little palate cleanser before the final opus of Rotten. But I am bending down and doing the We Are Not Worthy because Mindforce has done it again. And I remember seeing them back at United Blood in Richmond in 2016 and not knowing much about them right at that time. They were a new band, and the records were just coming out, and they blew me away then, where I was like, oh my God, I have to pay attention to this band. And every time they do something, I just recently saw them with Terror in Berkeley, and they fucking destroyed the place. And they're just a 4-piece, and they sound gigantic as a 4-piece. And yeah, this band is the real deal. This is going to go down in the annals of hardcore history as one of those bands that you're just going to have to recommend to your little cousin who's finally getting into punk. You know, this is one of them.
Yeah, this LP is spectacular. They play up some of the parts too, like where having one guitarist, there's a song where they split the guitars. There's no like doubling up on the tracks. It actually really, really works. Dan, with you talking about having like some kill mosh parts in here, I mean, like that end part of the first full song, Survival is Vengeance, it's like, oh, people are going to die, you know? Yeah. And then also like when Instant Karma hits, like that's another one where it's like, oh, when Instant Karma hits, oh, here it comes hitting and people are dead again, you know? So there's a lot of that on this record. It's like, oh, what's up? Mindforce is back with more mosh. You know what I mean? Like it's like Excalibur, but with more mosh, you know? It's ill. It's such an easy listen to record too. I've been going on lots of walks recently. It's like I play it like twice, you know, in a row. It doesn't get old. More things are popping up as standouts. Pieces are popping up. If I was going to have one critique that wasn't just about how great this is, I wish they went all the way in. Like it's time for them to do like their South of Heaven, their Dead Skin Mask, you know, one of those songs. Like let's just go in all the way. You know, Akulu did like on their LP, like they had that one like mid-tempo long banger, that Who's in Control song that like really cut up the record, is so catchy and is just like a great song, and they like went all the way for it. This record bangs all the way through. I do like, they can pull it off. You know, I want to hear the Mindforce Dead Skin Mask. Fuck it. You know, that's all I want. But you know what, dude? What's that?
The Mindforce Seekers of Truth. Like
well, see, I don't like that song. I think that Mindforce would do a good version of that. But yeah, it's like their Malfunction, their Seekers of the Truth.
Yeah.
But like a great version of it, you know? And you know what? If they follow this up with another 4-song banger like Swinging Swords, Chopping Lords, like maybe it's on there. You know what I mean? It's like the best chisel track is not on an LP. You know what I mean? So that's that. Ben, you loved Excalibur. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, this one's great too. It's strange for me because it's like 80s thrash metal riffage over heavy mosh beats. And so on paper, I shouldn't be a fan of this kind of stuff because I don't generally like music that leans really metal. But I think it's like a combination of the bright, perfect sounding production, the vocals, which are not growly. Most metallic hardcore has like, you know, monster sounding vocals. He's got like a really good voice. And then you have the absence of that sort of double kick drum basketball dribble beat down, you know, brr, brr, brr. None of that shit, because that's a fucking deal breaker for me. And also the brevity of the songs that keep it from stinking. I mean, when I say brevity, I mean for the style of music Mindforce plays, the songs are freakishly short. It's like,
yes,
it's like they're saying, here's that good shit you came here for, and that's all you're getting. Like the songs end before they have a chance of getting boring. So as much as I absolutely love Leeway, even some of their songs drag on too long, but not Mindforce. And a lot of their parts never even repeat, you know? Let's just go into this part, okay? And then this part, and then this part, the song's over. So it's sort of like, it's almost like a concept band. It's like, what if we did this like this? And like, I can't think of anyone that's done it exactly that way before. So great vocals, great guitar playing, great everything.
Yeah, the vocals are so unique and spectacular, you know, and dude, the way he makes his entrance on this record, you know, like on that New Lords intro, you know, like just starts spitting and you can't really understand what he's saying, but like you just hear that voice and it just sounds hype as fuck. It's like, it's a perfect way to start. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they give you, you know, like everyone wants those notes, right? The Excalibur notes, and they deliver a ton on this record. You know, it's that Hanneman shit. It's that Chuck from Death shit. But like Ben said, like the brevity of the songs is what makes it so great, right? Like, wasn't it fucked up? They got isn't it called Epics in Minutes? You know, like that's this. It's Epics in Minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild. Andy, what's your take on this?
I agree with everything you guys said. This dude's voice is definitely like got to be one of the top all-time voices, all-time frontman. I didn't get to see him until Sound and Fury, and I mean, just his stage presence was ill, man. He's just a showman. This record, super rad. Everything you guys, I think every dude in this band just oozes like swagger. Like when the bass player busts out, the drummer, the guitarist, the singer, they all have such a cool swagger about them that like just puts every song over the top. This record had all the cool stuff from the one before, but they kind of did it where it kept you, you know, you didn't get bored and you didn't think it was a repeat. So I don't need to go in too deep. I did like on that 13 and Mean song where he kind of got a little singy, and I think that's what you guys are talking about. I think you should explore a little bit of that. Not stripper metal, but like, yeah, get a little wild, to get a little YOLO. But this record, I mean, I didn't think you could beat Excalibur, and it did. And yeah, it's ill. I love it.
That's a good call, Andy. Because like, yeah, the first time I heard that song, fuck, I was like, they're Kid Icarus in this shit, dude. I hope this doesn't turn into stripper metal. You know, like every time when I hear a band do that shit and get scared, you know, but they pulled it back in, they honed it back in. They're not going stripper metal. They're too good. Too good. I just want to say one other thing before we move on from this is another example of a spectacular singer that started as a drummer. There's been a lot of that, right? Ben, Mike Judge, Rabies, Ray Capo, Scott Vogel, you know, like lots of great singers started as drummers, right?
Yeah, totally. That's funny. I wouldn't have been able to pull those names out of my ass the way you did just now, but it's like, yeah, that's a good point.
You forgot one.
Dan, go ahead.
Phil Collins.
Oh, yeah, Neil Peart. Put some respect on Neil Peart's name, fool.
He's never sang. Neil Peart doesn't sing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
But I thought he sings about Tom Sawyer.
No, that's Geddy Lee. Neil Peart writes the lyrics.
Oh, shit. Ben put me in my place. All right, let's go on and talk about, let's see. Oh, I want to talk this self-titled 7-inch. The band is called, forgive me for my Spanish, it's Colision in Spanish. I think it's Colision. Perdóname, mi español es mierda. Okay? But this band fucking rules. They put out a track that I think I got off the No Echo playlist. That's La Guardia Alta. And fuck, I love that song so much. It made my playlist, and I listen to it all the time. Now they got the full EP is out. It should be on streaming by now. If not, it's on Bandcamp. It's at crewcuts.bandcamp.com, and check out the band Colision or Collision, whatever. The frontman of this band, the way she does like
front man.
What's that?
Front man?
Gender's a construct, Ben. Gender's a construct.
Wait, what? What's going on here?
Oh, you said the front man of this band. It's not a man.
Yeah, the front man. Isn't that just a universal term?
Front person, I think.
Okay. fine. The front person of this band, the way that she does like the only way I can describe it is like it's like half of one of those Michael Jackson like tee-hees. You know, it's like, but she does that at the end of the line. It is so ill. Like there is so much personality coming through. She does it on the first song, and she also does it on the song that was the single, the LaGuardia Alta. Fuck, the way she sings is just so ill, and this thing just kicks ass. The recording is great. It's like 6 songs that just fly, and then also like I just love the 5th song, the blah blah blah. It's so punk, right? It's like because sometimes you just can't express yourself, you know, and you're fucking angry, and it's just like blah blah blah. Like I just want to yell, you know what I mean? It really like channeled like how I feel sometimes when I'm angry and I just don't know what to do. You know, like you just want to let loose and get buck, and this song did it. You know, I absolutely love this record. I think it's sold out, so hopefully they go to another press. But yeah, everyone check it out, crewcuts.bandcamp.com, or hopefully streaming on the streaming platforms by now. I saw that they announced on their Instagram that they were up, but I can't find them yet. So it's Colision with 1 L. Ben, what's your take on this?
Yeah, before I give my take, I wanted to read what they say on Bandcamp because it's an interesting thing. They say this, I suppose the people in the band wrote this, but I'm not sure. Colision is an LGBT band, and we like to think of us as a band made by/for women and dissident sexualities or identities. With our songs, we try to reflect our feelings and experiences as women and part of the LGBT community and the hostilities that we have to face on our daily lives. Hostility against hostility. So that's their statement, which is awesome. Kind of gives you an idea of where they're coming from. It's like the way I describe the music is like raging hardcore punk with really raw demo-y production, and sick SYQ, sick breakdowns, but no beatdowns. When the singer goes off, I just picture her, even though I don't know what she looks like, I picture her doing a flying jump kick out of nowhere, just like, ah! She's like flying through the air, like, where the fuck did you come from? And then sometimes she has this like Ray Capo growl to her. And it's like a very 80s sounding, inspired music, but I would say Blah 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 and Hogar, the 2 last songs on the EP, have some minor chords that would make it very 90s sounding. And the last thing is the cover art is a cartoon that depicts what appears to be 2 girls burning a toy police truck and falling in love with each other, with little hearts between them. And there are also lots of chains, but no brick walls.
All we need is a hooded pit bull.
Yeah.
You know? Dan, what's your take on this?
Fucking loved it. And to anyone listening, if they're more familiar with the band than we are, if we're misgendering or mispronouncing anyone, it's not meant with any disrespect at all, because this is fantastic, aggressive, political hardcore that is just so awesome. You can tell there's some influence from Gloss. It sounds a little bit like the Tack Beer record to me, but way more thing. And you know what's so awesome about this? It has such a deceptive bounce to it. Like, it's raging straight ahead, but then the way the drumming like segments up, and it totally has an up rocking like bounce on some songs, which you definitely don't think of it being that bouncy on the first listen. But I listened to this like 10 times since Zack sent it over. I really fucking love it. And I definitely hear the bounce, especially, you know, around second and third songs. I think bands that are putting out statements of saying what these songs are for and meaning is really powerful, because it pulls you more into the story, especially when it's for us in America. It is in a different language, and it helps us understand what's going on with these songs. It gives you a little format of knowing where this aggression is coming from and what it's directed to, and I fucking love it. Like, I can't wait to hear more from them. I'm bummed that the first press was only 250 and I didn't get one, because I really would like to own this record, and I can't wait to hear more from them. This fucking rules. Check it out. Everyone listening, check it out.
Yeah, I really can't say like how stoked I was on this, right? Because think about it, it's like a band puts out one song and that's all you have, and like listening to it over and over and being like, oh my God, I love this so much, you know? And then they put out 5 more songs and it's like they all deliver. And it's like the perfect amount of songs. Like, I want 6 songs from every band, you know, 4 to 6 songs. Like, that's it. I didn't get played out. All these songs have like moments in them that make them stand out from one another. You know, like, I love raging hardcore. Like, let's go back to like that Government Warning 7-inch. That thing kicks ass, all 4 songs, right? But like the second and third song that are like the fast hardcore songs, like, they're just straight fast hardcore ragers. Like, I don't know, nothing stands out from one or the other for me, you know, like, they're just pretty straight down the pipe songs that kick ass. But like all these songs here, like, they stand out from one another. Like, they are spectacular. This band is spectacular. I hope there's another press as well. I hope this band gets out there. I hope people listen to it and love it. Andy, what's your take on this one?
I mean, you guys pretty much covered it, but awesome band. Music rips. Vocals are awesome. I wish I could understand what the singer's saying, because they sound pissed. So I'm going to get the record and then do some Google Translate.
Hell yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one. A band that Dan probably wouldn't like if they weren't from the UK and weren't straight edge. The band is Eyeteeth, and it is demo 2022. Dan, prove me wrong.
Are you crazy? This music's right up my alley. I absolutely fucking love this. This is up there with some of the other things that I've told you in my records of the year so far. I mean, this sounds like the best bits of the Swarm with Gehenna and a little bit of modern, just punchy, driving hardcore in there. It's fucking angry as fuck. In 2022, we are getting a Chain of Strength diss track, Chain Whipped. The song is so fucking angry. Its lyrics are very clever in a, you know, name dropping the one thing that I still hold, and then they go into the next line. I really love it. I love the political song. Wage War. They're all somewhat political anyway, you know, but the song Wage War, like, about the way things are in the UK right now. The Conservative government is an absolute disgrace, and they're raising energy on people who can't even afford to pay their regular electricity bills, and now they're raising it. They're raising it a ton, and tons of people are going to be forced to choose between eating and warming their houses in the winter. And like, what kind of fucking choice is that? So that song is talking about how people are just not paid enough, and it's really good. But just the anger dripping out of this EP is amazing. I really want everyone to check it out. The singer Nate was in Rotting Hell. If anyone listening is familiar with that band, which absolutely fucking rules. They're absolutely a fantastic EP, and I did push for this to be reviewed with our, like, when we're all suggesting, like, oh, I've been listening to this a lot lately, or I've been listening to this. I really have been listening to this a lot and love it. So I urge everyone to check this out. The band is called Eyeteeth because they've had it up to the eyeteeth with this world.
Yeah, it's a good time to say there's a playlist for every episode. Go to 185milessouth.com. Click that playlist link. You can check this stuff all out. This is on the playlist. Dude, you know, we talked to Flex a couple episodes ago and said, like, that's a band that'll put hair on your ass. Like, I don't know. This one just might turn you into a straight up Yeti. You know, like, this is wild. Like, the first 2 songs are like that, just hard rippers. But I think that this band turns spectacular in the 3rd and the 4th track. The third track, when they do like the ring outs, they have like the nice major chord progressions, little brushes of integrity in there, but like really, really well done, and don't milk it. I actually think they could get away with milking it a little bit more. Like if they have that ring out part go twice as long, maybe hit with like a short solo before they go back into like a scissor beat. That'd be sick. On Flesh Trade, the way they like tuck in some of that speed picking, it's like a tiny, tiny bit of like a black metal influence. Those two songs, like tucking in those little things, just make this really spectacular. So again, first two songs, straight up bangers, Yeti core, and 3 and 4 showing how special this band can be. This is exactly what you want in a demo. You want some straight down the pipe stuff showing that you can rip, but you also want to give little touches of like, here's some ideas of what may come in the future. You know what I mean? So this definitely piqued my interest. I'm stoked on it. And yeah, Ben, what's your take on this?
This is a very demo-y demo. It sounds like they're playing through a layer of TV static. I just can't hang with those. Would you call those blast beats? The fastest beats they play on this, would those be blast beats?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hang with that. It's like the whole thing's like 4 minutes long, but it was a long 4 minutes for me. It's just like pure pummeling blast beat laden hardcore. It's like just tuneless aggression. And some people ride hard for that kind of shit, and I'm just not one of those people. I didn't even. Oh yeah, go for it.
I think the blast beats that you're referencing only happen on one song, though.
Yeah, maybe you're right. So track 3, is that it, or 4? One of those. Anyway, but yeah, it's just for the most part, it's just raw aggression, and like I didn't make out the words, but that's fine. Like there's plenty of music I love where I can't make out the words. But when you told me that they're an English straight or British straight edge band, like I couldn't even make out an English accent or like the lyrics of them being straight edge or anything like that. So, I mean, not that it matters, but that's funny when you said that. I was like, damn, I didn't even get that.
You didn't make out the lyric from Chain Whipped where it says, take the chain of strength and wrap it around your fucking throat. Which also on that song, there's that sample where it goes, there are 3 words, and then it goes, go fuck yourself. It's so fucking right.
Wait, so they're pissed off about a band that hasn't made a record in 32 years? Or what am I missing? Like, what?
That's what I said. That's why I said I love that in 2022 we're getting a Chain of Strength diss track.
Yeah.
Because straight edge still fucking matters.
Okay.
Right on. Andy, what's your take on this?
Yeah, this isn't really my style, but I did enjoy it. The first song I think has kind of like almost like a Youth Crew-y like 2-step part, but it's like super gnarly and like power violency. I don't know. I'm not the best at describing or putting record or music into their categories, but yeah, I mean the 4 songs were rad. I mean, for someone who's not super into this, like it was just the right amount of music to kind of make me think, oh, I'm gonna check out the next thing for sure. So it's a good gateway, and yeah, that Chain Whip song rules. That little speech beforehand. I only have a crappy iPhone, so I can't really make out everything, but this ruled, and yeah, that mosh call out that Dan was just talking about is awesome, dude. Got me psyched. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna check out whatever they put out next for sure.
Hell yeah. All right, let's go on to the final record we're going to talk. This is a Ben Edge selection. It is Andy Place and the Coolheads. It's called In a Confusing Futuristic Bar. And again, check this out on the playlist. Ben, how do you come across this, and what's your take on it?
Yeah, Rudy from the band Jade Dust, the singer of Jade Dust, he sent this to me. He's actually sent me one track from this, and it happens to be by far my favorite track from this. So I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Which one?
It is called Lucid Girl. I believe it is track number 3. So they are from Portland, Oregon, where Rudy lives. And he said that they're one of his favorite bands in the area. And then I got scared when I found out that only some of this album was on Spotify. Like there was a period of time, it was really strange, I told you about it, where the whole thing is on Bandcamp. Also, the thing exists on vinyl, by the way. but the whole thing was on Bandcamp, and then only some of the songs were on Spotify. Like, oh, is this a new thing that bands are doing? But it's all on there now. So, yeah. So Lucid Girls, my favorite song by far. And the way to describe them, I guess, would be they're kind of like a new wave band. They're like a punk band that almost borders on alt rock. And so what would that combination be? I guess you could say new wave. So they have guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and they also have synthesizer going the whole time. And there was a band from Orange County a few years ago called Adult Books I really liked that have a similar sound to them. And I don't know if the keyboards make the music better, worse, or the same than if there were no keyboards, but like it's almost like if you're a fan of Gary Newman and Devo, but you want your singer to not sound like a robot, like this is the band for you. Because the vocals are melodic and good sounding, and it sounds like they really put a lot of thought into their songwriting. You know, there's bridges and pre-choruses and things like that. I have like no attention span, so I wish the record was shorter because it is a full-length record and the songs are not, all 1 minute long. This is not Mindforce. The songs are longer than a minute. But maybe I wouldn't think that if I owned the vinyl and I wanted the sides to be as long as possible so I wouldn't have to get up and flip the record over. There's one other song that I thought was a standout track, and I'm going to pull up come back to me and I'll tell you which song I thought that was, because I don't have the tune stack in front of me right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ben Edge leaving you in suspense. Okay, this LP, let's get into it. The first song, it starts with like a piano intro, and let's be real, dude. If you're going to be ambitious enough to do that, you got to bring the heat. Like the Turbo Negro LP, Good God, go into that, Apocalypse Dudes, or like Poison Idea on the beginning of Feel the Darkness. You got to come with the heat. They kind of blow it. Like it just doesn't really lead anywhere on this song. And it really sucks because I think of that second song, Apartment of Temptation, is ill. It's a perfect tempo for this kind of band. Just kind of like a mid-tempo, up-tempo. The lyrics sound witty. Just everything really sounds good. I absolutely love this kind of music. Like there's a band called Milk Music that I like a lot. And when they hit on tempos like this, I think they're spectacular. Also, I can compare this. Again, I just don't know the style that well. It's like bar punk, but weirdo punk and punk adjacent. Like it just seems like one of those bands that would get fast tracked onto like, they have like 40 listeners online and now they're playing South by Southwest, Yeah, I just don't know shit about this stuff. So maybe like adjacent to the Marked Men, which is another band that I love that I don't really hear punkers riding for. So maybe they're like slightly punk adjacent. I don't fucking know.
Good comparison. Good comparison.
Okay, right on. Well, Apartment of Temptation, I absolutely love that song. And then there's a couple tracks back to back, like Bad Mood and Our Lives. Both those songs kick ass. And like when they're in that mode of like whatever BPMs that is, like this is straight up music I love. Like I've listened to those 3 tracks like a lot. And this album is like pretty palatable, easy to listen to. I skipped that first song because like that second song is like a great fucking way to start the record. The one other thing I want to say, and I don't mean to be too negative on this record because the highs outweigh the lows for me, but the song Absolute Zero, when they go all in on the synth, like they had a real shot at writing a classic song here, I think. The way they build it up sounds great. The synth works really good. And then they just kind of blow it. Like it doesn't go anywhere. The song ends up not being spectacular. And I think that, you wrote this song that you're trying to have like be a standout song. You're taking some extra risks, like the synth player, you're letting the lights hit him. Like, let's do this. Like, let's make a rager. Like, there's a reason why like Kids of the Black Hole is like, a punk rock opus and why it's like one of the greatest songs of all time, right? Like it's an opus, but it still kicks ass. So like, just bring the heat, dude. Like bring all that sizzle, but then also you got to have some vegan steak. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. I just say that song Absolute Zero is a big miss, and it was like a serious opportunity. I hope that the band doesn't shy away from taking a risk like that again, because I think they have the skills to pull something like this off and like straight up knock it out of the park and create a classic. Like it kind of reminded me of the beginning of like that that Lords of the New Church song, Open Your Eyes, which is like one of my favorite songs ever, but it just didn't build to anything spectacular. And so that was a bummer. But overall, I'm stoked that Ben suggested this. I'm stoked that the dude from Jade Dust gave this to the group. He has great suggestions all the time. So that's my take. And Dan, what's your take?
This is new wave, like modern new wave that is at times absolutely excellent. There are a few songs on here that they could easily have been on the Valley Girl or Fast Times at Ridgemont High soundtrack and be regarded as like classics from that era if they had been sent back in a time machine or a Bill and Ted phone booth or something. That Apartment of Temptation, I love that song. The song For the Night is really good, but you're right, that intro is so like ethereal and mystical, and it feels like it's going to be like the most beautiful thing ever. And then the right turn to it, that song doesn't get really going until near the very end of it, with the power that it requires to take that right turn out of that intro. I did like the synth heavy song Absolute Zero, but I do take on board your critiques of it. I think the Moog on this is used in some songs so like perfectly and in tune with the way that the song is written. And then occasionally some of the lows on this LP, it sounds like, I don't know, like Weezer meets ZZ Top at times or something. Like there's just too much rocking soloing, like that fighting with the like Weezery poppy keyboard influenced stuff. I don't know. It's a really good thing. Now, if this thing was we go back to the term of editing, if this was the best 7 songs off of here and they let some of the other stuff go, we would be like screaming this from the rooftops right now. You know, if it just hit you with a small, like 14 minutes, 15 minutes, and every song was just so good, like we wouldn't. It's getting a great review from all of us, I think, but it could be getting like one of those, holy shit, I can't wait till this band comes to my town. I am all in on this. I can't wait for the next thing. And that would just be with a little bit of editing. Like if they just, it doesn't need to be this long, and some of the songs don't need to be here, but the ones that hit, they really fucking hit.
Hell yeah. Andy, what's your take?
Yeah, this is cool, man. I'm a sucker for a catchy song. A lot of catchiness on this record. Some cool lyrical hooks. But you guys both hit on the nose. Like it is a little long, and a couple of songs are like. It's not that I don't listen to them, but I kind of found myself kind of not paying attention on some of them. But overall, it is super catchy stuff. I think Dan nailed it. That if it was a few less songs. And it was just those main bangers, it would be, it'd be like, I'm going to scream this from the hilltops and show it to all my friends. But with so many songs on there, it kind of like, once I stop listening to it, I go on to the next thing. I don't really, it's not as memorable, but I do think some of those songs I'll put in a playlist, and then they'll be hits. And it's kind of like Andrew WK meets Devo to me. A lot of cool like party vibes, but like also like that. Took me back to being a kid and listening to new wave and growing up and being with my buddy's older sisters and them showing me all these cool songs with the synthesizers and all that. So I dig it. And it was a good recommendation.
Hell yeah. Everyone check out the playlist. This is a pretty mixed bag. So I think this will be a fun playlist to listen to. If you're done listening to that 70s playlist that seriously brought the heat. Dan, you have any final thoughts on this pod?
I want to just say, like, I love when we talk stuff and it's in all the different corners of stuff. Like we go from the Floorpunch 7-inch to Eyeteeth to, touching on that government warning, like, all of this stuff's so good. I love talking punk and hardcore, and I really like when we can showcase a wide variety to show that all of it is valid. Like, you know, and I absolutely love it. Gotta say again, everyone listen to that Eyeteeth. It is fucking raw and evil and great and will be on your end of the year list.
Hell yeah. 185 rides for that big tent. You know what's up. Ben, any final thoughts here?
Yeah, the other banger on the Andy Place and the Coolheads album that I couldn't think of the name was Our Lives. So good call, Zack. That was one of the standout tracks you mentioned.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, what a diverse grouping of records. Where else can you hear people talking about, you know, brutal hardcore with blast beats, new wave, and hardcore en español, and whatever you'd call Mindforce?
The band, the Kings of Brevity, dude. But yeah, hell yeah. Andy, final thoughts on the pod?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's always awesome to talk with you guys and listen to you guys kick knowledge. So thanks for having me.
That's what's up. Dan, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Southpaw Instagrammer. Holla at your boy.
Ben, where can people find you?
On Instagram at Cold Chillin' Book.
Andy, where can people find you?
Ill Excommunication on Instagram.
Everyone, you can find me at Mekong on Convoy, eating the best yellow curry in San Diego. Also, 185 miles south at gmail.com. Get at me. I answer everything. Also, 185 miles south on Twitter or Instagram. The DMs are a little weirder. I don't know if I get back to you or not just because they're funky. But check us out there. Give us a follow or whatevs. My personal, Zack Retaliate on Instagram.com. Be sure to get that Retaliate 4 CD with them bonus tracks, the best of indecisionrecords.com. Support the cause. And you know, Retaliate is the best on Instagram. That's where you're going to follow us. Everyone, we love you all. We'll talk to you next Monday on Patreon.